Oh man, let's get it going today. Welcome back, folks, to Destination Success. And we got a whole new title today. So it's Turning Pages to Triumph. And I couldn't be more ecstatic today. We got a little bit of snow coming on the ground to give us all a little break today, but not here with Sherm, not at Destination Success. We're always trying to knock out some good content and give you guys some things when you're getting ready to grow your business, to start your business, and when you hit those hiccups. So today, folks, we got a incredible value add today. So this is the part. This is the one podcast we do about. We go over the book Destination Success, where it's the 8 mindset hacks for every entrepreneur. And this isn't in a book, folks. I mean, some of it is, but this year I've basically put myself down for consistency and accountability. And it's not that I'm consistent or not accountable, but in order to really get to the next level, in each one of your levels, it gets tougher and tougher. And being more consistent and being more accountability means whether or not you get to that next bracket sometimes. In the beginning, it's about getting all the work done. But now once you start growing and once you start a team and once you have it all mapped out, it's let's get consistent and let's get accountable for the business. So, again, this is a really hot piece today for you guys. So it's not in the book. So guess what today, folks? You're going to have to grab your notebooks. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, the share button. Let people know. You have friends that are starting businesses or in business, and, you see them on Facebook posting that they're having some troubles. Shoot them over here. Maybe there's something in there they hear that helps them tweak and go and get past that one little part. So grab your notebooks, grab a pen, hit the record button, hit the like button on YouTube, Facebook, and let's get started. I'm excited. So what does consistency mean in the context of business? Consistency is, think of your business as a garden, and consistency is like watering it regularly. I mean, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, that's the sum of the parts. It sounds super easy. And you know what? Honestly, it is super easy. The difficult part is making sure you're doing it every day. Because it is just that. It's just making sure that you don't neglect yourself. Making sure that, that when you're watering every day, that things are going to thrive. And that's what it's about, being consistent. And the same, and that's the biggest part in your business, is that you have to make sure that it's a repeatable process. That gets into when you go into the one chapter of systems. That's the part of, you're always checking the system. And it's like a conveyor belt, and you got to make sure it's there. So step number one to being consistent is setting clear goals. So we know everybody's out there. It's the beginning of the year. It's January. So, the number one goal is what? Work out, lose weight, blah, blah, blah. You know why 99% of the people quit by day 3 is because you didn't set really a clear goal. And you say, well, Sherm, I don't understand. What's a clear goal? You got to define it. Losing weight isn't a definable goal. It's like telling somebody that, your house is dirty and you want it cleaned. Well, even when the house gets cleaned, it's still dirty. You know what I mean? So what do you want? You need the bathrooms clean. You really want the bathroom floor. I want them to be swept and mopped, and I want, this, that, and the other, or I don't want this, that, and the other. So it's the same thing in business with your goals. So when we're setting goals, they got to be clear and consistent. You can't say, I want to make more money. You got to say, hey, we're doing 200 grand now. I want to make 400 grand, or I want to get 400 grand in sales. There is a clear and consistent goal. The clear part of it is that you know what the number is. It's 400 grand. Okay, so we have a year. So now you divide the 400 grand, into the 12 months we have, and that comes down to, you got to do $33,000. Yeah, hold on. What did I just do? So you got to do $33,000 a month. And you go, wow, that's a lot of money. Well, sure. Yeah, it is. And that's a huge goal. But let's be even more clear. So let's say your shop's open 5 days a week. So you're going to do 4.33 times 5, and you're open. We're going to round up 22 days a month. So now you take that $33,333 and divide it by the, what did I say? 22 days. So now you got to do $1,500 a day. And you go, damn, Sean, that's not that big deal. $1,500, that could be one sale. I mean, I don't know what you sell. You know what I mean? Like for us, that $1,500 a day, depending on whether or not we book a wedding or whether or not how many healthy meals we sell, how many family meals or corporate order, that could be 2 corporate orders at $10 a meal. That's 150. That's 150 individual meals at $55 a family meal. That's 30 family meals. Like, so now because it's just not knowing how much you need to do a day, but it's extremely important that. Because now you're going to divide that by the products you sell. So you can do an average price per day, and what you're going to do is you're going to go into your POS system. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's your point of sale system. That's your register. That's your software that takes your orders, whatever it is. We use CaterZen for our corporate orders. We use Curate for our wedding orders. And we use Shopify for the individual meals and the programs online. So I'm going to do something real quick right online here for you guys. We're going to make this as educational as possible. So I'm going to get right on my Shopify because I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is. Because I'm like, oh man, but no, it's not that hard. It's really simple because whatever you're using should be able to do it. And if it doesn't do it, then you're going to do it yourself. You're going to figure it out. So right now in my Shopify shopping cart, it can tell me I'm going to just pick a random month of sales. Just so I'm not going to do today because it's the middle of the month, but we're going to get into that. And so sales. So it says month to date. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go back and I'm going to do let's do the last 12 months, and I'm going to hit apply. So here's what I got to go back to the report to orders. That's giving me the individual items. So, hey, we're learning together right now real quick. Not hard. It's pretty easy. So orders. Why is it not giving me where I always lose this? There's a pie in the sky. There we go. So sales. Click on sale. Oh, that's what I did. I didn't want to do that. So you go month to date. So we're not going to do month to date. We're going to do custom. So, and I'm going to do last year. We're going to do all of last year because I want to show you something real quick. So this is 23. It's funny because it does it in military time, which is funny because it does it in military time because it's an international software and everybody else but the United States doesn't use military time. Okay, so boom. So okay, so this is perfectly. So last year we did to be exact, we did $81,480 in Shopify. So with that being said, I can also figure out how many individual items we sold. And I am going to click here and it's probably going to tell me that. Boom. Items. It goes on the reports. Yeah, reports. Net sales, product orders. Here you go. Product orders and returns. So we can do, again, last year, apply. Why is it giving me on top order? So, you know what's funny is I have too much information. So it's giving me my top orders. So for last year, our top orders were flank steaks, and this is all some good information you need to know. But nonetheless, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to try to see if there's a total that gives me a total, and there's not. Let me go to analytics real quick. I'm only going to take 2 more minutes with this and I'm going to make a fictitious number just so we can move on, because we don't need to get bogged down into the minutia of this problem, because it's really simple and it's simple math. So at the end of the day, yeah, so I don't know why I can't. So we're going to do the last 30 days because that's the easiest thing. So the last 30 days right here, it tells me that we have total orders for the last 30 days is we had 133 orders in the last month. So then I'm going to go back to my numbers, and you can figure out what your average price is. So we can figure out what exactly we're saying here. So like to figure out what your average price is. And basically why I'm telling you that is that, okay. So our average sales, let me get a piece of paper so that I don't have to keep going back. I wasn't, obviously, as you can see, I wasn't prepared to do this. So we're just going off script and going live. So, because I want to help you guys, because you've really got to know this stuff. And, actually it's right here on the screen and I don't understand. So let me do this. Let me see if I can do it. Yep, last year. Boom. Bam, right here. All right. So it's going to take a second. There we go. Boom. So I knew it was here, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I wasted about 4 minutes of your time rambling on trying to find this. But we did $80,234.45 in Shopify. Of that, we sold 12,971 items. And so when you have a software like this and a system like Shopify, it actually told me that for the previous period, we were down 22% from the year before. And it says the number of orders last year were down 25%. So you know where you're at all time. But our conversion rate was up by 34%. So we're doing good things in better areas, and then we got to work on some other things in other areas. And I'm going to tell you really what it was, and I can tell you without even looking at this what it was. It was Christmas, and it was Mother's Day and Easter. So the year before we killed it, and last year it was just good. And that's probably the 25% that we're talking about right now. So nonetheless, you take those two numbers, as I told you. So we did $80,234.45 in sales, and you divide that by 12,971 purchases. So our average purchase on Shopify is $6.18. So if I was trying to get to that number, I'd basically, this was my only product. We know that, okay, like we need to sell, we were back to 33,333. So to get to 33,333 divided by $6.18, we'd have to sell 5,394 products to get to that number we were talking about. So obviously in my Shopify sales card, that's probably not realistic, considering that is half of the year's sales at 12,971. So it's not that you can't have a lofty goal, but you also have to understand that the average business, probably increases sales in the first 5 years between, sometimes they double because you're small and you're doubling, but then once you kind of level off, it's between 15 to 30%, depending on what you sell and the market and way market works. So me having to almost multiply this times 12 is probably not going to be a good thing. But nonetheless, that's how you figure out your numbers. And it's really important that we always make sure that we know the numbers, because that's how you, at that point, and I think I'm getting ahead of my script because I'm trying to give you some good real life examples and everything. So, let me get back to here where we were talking about, so I don't miss anything, because I put a lot of great stuff in here. So So that was just about me. We're like 4 sentences in, 2 paragraphs. To be consistent in setting clear goals. So yeah. So and the word you want to use for that is it's called SMART. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So that's what I gave that to you without you saying SMART first and without reading it because I already know it. Because I've been hammered in my brain through my business coaching and my coaches for probably almost 10 years now. And you have to be specific. And the specific is our number. Remember when we said that we wanted to do $33,333 a month? That's being specific because it was originally whatever that was times 12, which came up to I think $400,000. Yeah. So that was being specific about your goal was I want to do $400,000. Now the measurable part is what I just did for you, both ways. So the first measurable part is what do I need to do? Like what do my sales need to be for yearly was the first one because that's where we started. The goal was the yearly goal was 400K. Then we broke it down into a monthly goal, which was the $33,333. Then we brought it down then you can bring it down into a weekly goal and then a daily goal. I just like getting right down to the daily goal. Because at the end of the day, and don't do it by 7 and don't do it by 365 because you're not working 365 days. Most likely not many people are open shop for 365 days. So don't fool yourself. You got to be practical and you got to be honest. If you're only open 4 days a week, then you divide it by 4 and be real about it because you want to make sure you're hitting your goals and you want to know where you got to be to hit your goals. If you divide it by 7 and your goal is small because you divided it by 7, well, that sucks because for 4 days you're going to hit your goal and for 3 days you get 0. So no reason to do it. And that's the part about measurable and achievable is that and relevant as well. So the R for relevant is that your goal, your measuring stick is relevant because it's for the days you're open. We're open 6 days a week. The shop is open 7, but we sell 6 days a week. So that's why I would do my goal on 6, not on 7, because our Sundays are like recover day. We don't really, every now and then we do a wedding and every now and then we'll do some orders for people on Sunday, but for I would say 40 out of the 52 weeks a year, we don't do it. We probably do 1 a month and that's it. So I don't use that. That's a bonus day. So if we do something on Sunday, it's bonus money. But I don't look at it that way and I don't achieve it that way. We're open 6 days a week. People are working 6 days a week. We have shifts, employees, managers, and staff that are working and earning money 6 days a week. And that's how you have to look at it. The time bound part is what's your goal? So where our goal was for next year, which is in 12 months. Now you should also be setting a 3-year goal and a 5-year goal. About 5 years ago, our goal was to do $1.5 million. And then we had to go through this whole metrics and we had to write it down and everybody had their Q's and keys and, the kitchen needed to know because, they need to know how much business they're going to be doing. And then the sales, people in the office need to know how much they should be booking each day and amount wise so that we can get there. How many weddings do we need to do each week? How many this, that, and the other? So that is the specific, measurable, account, relevant, time bound. That's the SMART system of figuring it out. Woo, man, how was it? A mouthful. Next up, we're only 18 minutes into this. I was only going to try to do this for 20 minutes, but you're getting a whole 30 minutes on this one, and I'm not going to cheat you and shortchange you on this. So, next up, you got to create a schedule. Having a schedule not only keeps you organized, but it also keeps you allocated for time for important tasks. Use digital tools and the good old-fashioned planner to plan your days, weeks, and months. Okay, so obviously you can hear that I'm reading this off the piece of paper. And I'm doing this because sometimes when I start talking, I get all crazy. I get shiny penny syndrome, and I get on a tangent, and I start talking about things. So I want to make sure that I say this so that you hear it first, and then I go into it. So first, schedule. All right, it takes 30 seconds. Here you go. All you got to do is search in your Google search bar, create a planner. And there's a company out there. You can either I'll put it in a thing if I find it, or you can email me and I find it. But I have every one of my managers and staff for my staff have this calendar. It basically starts at 6 o'clock in the morning and it ends at 8 p.m. And it has Monday through Friday, just circled it. This one says Sherm's. The other ones are blank and they just put their names in it. Or they cross out my name and put their name in it. But because originally it was made for me, because I needed the time management. Because I wasn't actually scheduling my time. Time was scheduling me. So I had to learn how to reschedule things. I had to learn how to schedule things. I didn't have to relearn it. Basically, the business was running me. I wasn't running the business. So that's why I created this planner. So I have today's big goals. Then I always want to, I'm trying to focus more on my health and making sure that I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what I eat. So I have a little box there to write that down. And then you just time slot all the stuff you have to get done today. So here's what happened is I gave this to some people, and some people aren't wired the same way I am. And that's cool, because you want that. You want people to ask questions or not be able to do it the same way you, so you can explain it. Then you learn, because you're going to learn every time you're teaching this to your company, your staff, your managers, and all that kind of stuff. So what I then had to do is I realized that some people don't work well when you have to schedule this out in this fashion, like where it's every 15, 20 minutes. So then what I created was, I said, well, that's fine. I get it. But we need to get the task done. So then what I did was I went back to the same place and I created this here. And it says it's a Sherm's Catering to-do list. And then there's a dotted line. I learned my lesson the first time by branding it with me because now I'm sharing it with my manager and I'm coaching them how I'm getting coached. So it says to-do list. There's a dotted line on top for your name. It says day, a week, and a date. And then to the left is the to-dos. There's about 40 to-dos. And then to the right, it says priorities. So these are the things that have to get done. These are your top 5. You can't leave. You can't turn out the lights. You can't lock the front door of the shop until these things get done. And then there's a note section, and then there's a reminder. So the best thing about this is like, well, wait a minute. You have it on a thing where it rips off. And you're right. And what I did with that is I also have my trusty Rusty, my booker keeper, for those that are old enough to understand that. So I have a 3-ring binder and I put them in there and I check everything off every day. And this may or may not work for you. You might be a techie person and there's 1,000 apps on for your phone. I tried that and it was just one more distraction. It really, the paper is the thing where I lay it down and leave it laying somewhere, but the phone with like another calendar app kind of thing just didn't work because it wasn't enough to grab my attention. It was too small. It wasn't getting there. But you got to figure out what you got to do. But you got to set this up for your schedule each day, and you got to schedule your time to make sure you're doing it. You have to schedule time so that you're learning. You have to schedule time so that you're coaching your management and your staff. And then you have to schedule time that you're out talking to your customers. And then you have to schedule time to do your social media and all that other stuff, because you're probably doing it all. And here's the best way to do it is that you start scheduling this down here in the calendar and you start blocking out time, just like I block out time to do this podcast. Like I block out time. Here's what we're going to knock it out. So you got to do it, and you got to do it for all 7 days. Here's the biggest thing. I'm going to give you a little tip. And this cost me like the first $5,000 of coaching, and for me personally, not really business coaching, was schedule date nights for your significant other. Here's how you don't get in trouble because you work 40 hours, like 20 hours. I was going to say 40 hours a day, but you're working every day and all day. So schedule it out, make it a priority. That's how we get lost in the muck. And that's how you can't be consistent with your partner and your family and that kind of thing, because now you're working really hard in your business. And I get it, I really do. And when you schedule that time, turn your phone off. Turn it off, flip it upside down. Nothing's that important. Make sure you're in mind and in focus when you're on that date. Okay, that's it. That one's done. I helped you out. The extra chocolate cherry on top. All right, so the next one was prioritization. God, I do this to myself all the time, is that I do it and then I go backwards and I knock stuff out. But nonetheless, obviously I showed you on there, you got to prioritize. You got to know what the things are you got to get done. um, I had another coach from out in the out in West. I think it was Idaho, somewhere out there, and he coaches a system from Traction that it's rocks and boulders, and basically you have the boulder, which is the big goal, and then you smack it with a hammer, and then you have little rocks, and then you smack it, and then you have pebbles, and that's how you should look at all these things. Your big goal was the big boulder was 400,000, and you smack it down, and okay, well, here's how to do it. The kitchen's going to have to do that for me. And again, I'm giving you my example. The kitchen has to be able to do this much production. They have to sell this much production. We need this many delivery drivers to get it out. We need this much staff to do this many weddings. So like that's the little rocks to figure out how you put it together and make the big boulder. So, and obviously you got to prioritize where you need the next step. There's two ways to look at it. I always look at it. You put one tough task and 3 easy tasks together, because you're going to blow the easy task out, and then you're going to procrastinate on the tough task. So do 2 easy tasks so that you get the sense and the satisfaction of getting something done and having wins every day, because you want wins. You don't want to just put up the hard things and then you get frustrated and struggle, and then you fail, and then you don't want to do anything else. So always put the easy tasks and the hard tasks together and pair them up, with a couple here and a couple there. And that way, because your mind wants wins. As soon as you start struggling, then you want to not do it, and then you're not going to be consistent, and then you're going to push off your schedule, and you're going to push off the prioritization of the task. So level it out. You know what I mean? Some people are good under pressure. Some people aren't. You can do 3 to 1. You can do, 2 to 1. You can do 1 to 1, knowing that maybe I need more time to work on the hard one. But nonetheless, always throw some wins in there so that you feel like, wow, we're really getting stuff done. All right. So here's the next thing. Use tools and software to track your business metrics and key performance indicators. Regularly review your progress to see if you're on the right track towards a goal. So if you have a sales goal, you should be tracking it every day, and you should know what you're doing every day. It could be as simply as you're checking your merchant account, knowing, okay, we rang up this much in the register, or you have a sales account with, that you have this many proposals and this many things coming in. They may not all pay today, but you know where it's at. So you're either tracking you're either tracking the cash that came in today, or you're tracking the contracts that are coming in between today and tomorrow, or today, tomorrow, and the end of the month kind of thing. So, but you need to track it. You need to know where you're at, because the worst thing to do is I say, hey, where are you at with your cash? Because I'm coaching you, and you go, no, that's a bullshit answer. You need to know where your cash is at all times. You need to know how much money you have in the bank. You need to know how much money's coming in the bank tomorrow, and how much money you have in the bank for next week. Because what happens when you hit the pothole in the road and you blow out the tire? Well, you got to get the tire fixed, because you can't make deliveries without the delivery truck, right? So, you got to know where you're at all times. It's the only way you're going to get where you want to be. What you focus on is what you're going to get. And this is the part of being consistent, and this is the part of being accountability. And knowing where your numbers are is the accountability of what it is. I'm using a number as a goal, but it doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's losing weight, it's about how many times I do the gym, how many reps I do, how many minutes I do cardio, how many sit-ups, how many push-ups, how many this, how much time did I put in the pool, or how many times did I play, squash, or because, all those cardio things that may help you lose weight. You still got to track it. You got to be consistent. And that's the part. And when you're consistent and you see that you're doing all this stuff, what do you think a piece of paper look like this when you see it every day? Like, I'm trying to make sure that this is focused in there. How do you think that the endorphins in your brain, when you look at it, you go, wow, man, I got all that. And that's a small day. That's not even a good day. I could show you another day where I got almost every line hit. You know what I mean? I write kind of big sometimes, but sometimes I got to write little because I got to get it all in there. You know what I mean? Like, but the point is, it helps you. Like, when you see that, you go, wow, this is really good. But if you're not writing this down and you're not tracking yourself, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a day where the day falls apart. So I'm going to tell you about yesterday. Yesterday, I sent an email to my insurance agent because I needed a copy of my COI for my copier, because they're charging me an insurance rate that I'm covered for under the insurance that I pay. So it's a little grab for them that they can add $14 a month to my lease payment, because I didn't send them in my COI for making sure that the copier is covered under my liability policy for the company. So I sent an email, and all of a sudden I get a phone call from the processor, and she says, "Sure, why are you calling about this policy? You canceled it." And I said, "I didn't cancel it." She goes, "Oh, yeah, you did. You canceled it back in December." I said, "Well, how did I cancel it back in December when I made a payment on January 3rd? She goes, "Oh, yeah, it shows in your system you did that, but they're sending out a refund check because we canceled your insurance." So let's just be clear real quick. How do you think my mind just went from I was doing something that I hated, that I had to get done because they're banging me for $14 a month, to realize that I don't have insurance for the 7 vehicles, general liability, workman's comp, the umbrella policy that I have for the company in case something happens over and above everything, because there was an email that I sent them that I closed my other company that I was investing with another person. We closed that company at the end of the year, and I specifically sent it with the payment that there was an email, like an email notification of the payment. You don't think that my mind got a little sidetracked yesterday? Yeah, it got a lot sidetracked because I was really upset, because it was one of those things like, I can't believe that nobody read this email, because the name of the company was there, the policy number was there, and the company of which the email insurance that I asked to cancel was there. So it was all there. So yeah, I kind of lost. So, and then I took a break, and then I came back and I looked at my list, and we got back started. Like, if you don't have that kind of stuff, you're just going to kind of circle around, and then the rest of the day may be done. So I like to give a few examples, and that was one. So we're getting into 30 minutes, and I want to really wrap this up, but you have to understand accountability is a friend. Most people think it like, it's nagging, like, "Oh, my mom used to always say, is your homework done?" Well, you know what? You're right. It is nagging, but you're nagging yourself. And if you really want what you want, and you really want to achieve big goals, then, nobody else is going to make sure you do it, because nobody else cares that you do it. Most people want to see you fail anyway. So, they're always looking for you to go, "Oh, ha, 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 I told you he wasn't going to do it, or she wasn't going to do it." So you got to be accountable for yourself. And it's not easy, guys. I promise you. I've been self-employed for almost 30 years. I've had multiple companies, managed hundreds of people. It's not easy, because as the owner, it feels like you're always being pulled and drugged in different places. But this is why I created this. I created this for me, so that I know, all right, here's my knockout list today. You know what I mean? Here's the top 8 things that I need to get done. And there's not always 4 on there. Today there was only 3. You know what I mean? In my notes, there was the notes about other things I wanted to get done, but the top priority was, knocking this one thing out today and making sure I got it done, because it's been a priority, but it hasn't got done in 3 or 4 days. So now today was, no, you can't shut anything off or do anything else until you get this done. So look, I'm here for you. You want an accountability coach? Inbox me, text me, call me. It will be accountability people for each other, where we just text each other, "Hey, you make sure you're getting this done." It's not going to be the same as me coaching you, but it's a start. If you need help in a little area, or find a friend, or your significant other, they should want to see you succeed. So you say, "Hey, look, can you ask me every day that whether or not I got my sheet done, or can you ask me to see my sheet and make sure that I'm doing my sheets every day?" You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I can flip through this page and I miss 2 or 3 days this week and 1 or 2 days next week. You know why I have that binder? You know why I'm putting it in the binder? Not only to be able to look back, but that binder tells me that there should be 356 pieces of paper in there for 2024 as I'm going through it. And there should be Monday through Sunday every day, because I work every day, and I have for almost 20 years. I work 7 days a week. Now, working isn't going to a workplace every day, but working is, on Sundays, I put in some stuff to get started for the next week. We have some orders I do and I help with in the kitchen for inventory. There's some other things, but it's only an hour or 2. It's not a big deal. But the point is, here's what I got to get done. And sometimes it's more than an hour or 2, because sometimes I got to get some other things done. I got to finish a contract, or I got to, we're in the process of, creating a menu or recreating a menu. I got to put 2 or 3 hours into it, but I got to get it done. And Sunday's the only day I can get it done. So But we got to hold each other accountable, and you got to hold yourself accountable. And it's important that we make sure that we're consistent and accountable. So, I appreciate you spending 30 minutes with me today. I'm hoping I helped you with accountability and how you get started and how you do it and the process and the plan to get it there. Remember, SMART. SMART is always, the way to get there. So you have to have your specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound portions of your goal setting. And it's really important that you do that. So guys, I've taken enough of your time. I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys like this, thumbs up, subscribe, share it with a friend that's an entrepreneur. Repost it on your Facebook. Say, hey, somebody might need to see this. You never know who's struggling. You never know what it needs for them to get to the other side. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, keep rocking your businesses. Thank you.